Hey, good morning everybody. It's Ned over at My Philippine Dreams, N to the E to the D over at MPD, coming at you from Dumaguete City, the city of gentle people, except when they are driving. All right, I apologize in advance. I'm a little stuffed up. Just had the air conditioning going all night, so I'm a little nasally right now, but we're trying to work through that. The sun is also shining in my eyes, so let me put on some sunglasses here, because that's a little bit blinding. That's a little bit better. All right, yeah, go ahead, make fun of my sunglasses, but it's the only pair I have left. When you buy these cheap sunglasses in the Philippines, and they only cost $1, they cost about 50 pesos, 45 pesos. They only last about a month. They're made of cheap plastic and they break really fast, and this is the last pair that I have left. All right, so this is a follow-up video to an article I wrote last week over on my website. I'll put the link to that down in the video description box. Some people don't like to read and they prefer videos. I'm not going to say any names because I'm not going to make it political, but it is what it is. So this is the video compatriot to that article that I wrote. So, as some of you know, I recently went through an illuminating, if rather short-lived, period of dating. For those who personally know me here in Dumaguete, I was actually able to see a good number of women in a short period of time. Thankfully, that came to an end a little over a month ago when I met somebody, and hopefully that'll continue to somewhat work out. We'll see what happens. What this particular video is going to deal with is a takeaway from that experience, my short period of dating. Namely, the singular oddness that I experienced of some things that I encountered on their Facebook pages. And with that said, let's try to get into some of it. First up, a disclaimer of sorts. I personally loathe Facebook. I don't actually have a real personal Facebook account. The only reason I set one up was so that I could create my Philippine Dreams business page. I do make some use of my fake account, but it is very limited. For example, I think I only have about 15 friends. Yeah, poor me. And those are there basically because I like to communicate on Facebook Messenger, and there's some people that I like to follow to get some of their content because they actually have relevant, good content. And like I said, the Facebook Messenger app is actually really good. Hi ladies. Okay, we got an audience. We got an audience at the gate. My beef with Facebook is that it encourages narcissistic behavior, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Collects an excessive amount of personal information. It's basically the world's biggest data mine, and it also recklessly distributes false information. Actually, most of you know who follow my Facebook page know that I distribute a lot of false information myself. And although good for hunting down like childhood friends, I also believe Facebook is responsible for disconnecting more people from societal realities than actually connecting them. All right, so enough of that. Here are some of the takeaways that I gained from my time dating and perusing Prospective Pinay's Facebook pages. They are in no particular order, and if I miss something, be sure to add it in the comment section below so that I can update the article over on my website. First takeaway is Filipinos love Facebook. The Philippines is the #1 user of social media in the world. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Out of a total population of about 101 individuals, there are 47 million registered Facebook accounts in the Philippines. And since there are so many users, I would usually try to get their Facebook address early on in the process so that I could switch over to Facebook Messenger. Because again, it's a good app and it's a good way to communicate with people. It would also give me an opportunity to peruse their posts and try to get a deeper, or more shallow in Facebook's case, understanding of who it was I was actually chatting with. Quick aside, in addition to social media, the Philippines just came in at #1 for the most time spent on Pornhub.com. That's actually the 4th year they've come in first place, so congratulations to the Philippines. And also, if you have PLDT fiber, you might have noticed that the Philippines is now blocking all porn sites like Pornhub, you know, all of those. So you actually have to use a VPN to access it. Not that I use a VPN to access porno sites or anything. Nor would I recommend that because it might be illegal. The Philippines is also recognized as the selfie capital of the world, beating out a number of other beauty and celebrity-obsessed countries around God's green earth. So for those 2 accolades, for those 3 accolades, #1 social media user, most time spent on Pornhub, and most selfies, congratulations Philippines, keep up the good work. And with that done, let's get back to the original topic, what I learned from dating Filipinas and Facebook. Angel. First up is multiple accounts. A good number of Filipinas I encountered have multiple Facebook accounts, most having a public account with a more private one tucked away safely somewhere. In more than a few cases, the public account is simply their name spelled backwards. For instance, Lisa Macchio will simply be spelled backwards to Aisel Osham or something like that. This seems to be a thing in the Philippines, and with all the cultural conformity, this spelling your name backwards is pretty common. Now, I totally understand the need to have a public and private account. It just gets a little odd when you find a prospective Pinay with 4 or 5 different accounts with a confusing mishmash of conflicting information between them. To me, that's pretty much a warning flag, and I'd usually find an excuse to take a powder and scratch them off the list. Yeah, so if you find multiple accounts with a totally different information on it, that might be a warning flag. Another takeaway is the dark triad. The dark triad is actually a forensic term applied to individuals displaying excessive narcissism. That's basically love of self. You can look up Greek Narcissus, who was a dude that saw himself in a reflection of a pool of water and kept on staring at himself so much he fell into the water and drowned. Machiavellianism and psychopathy. Machiavellianism is basically manipulating other people either emotionally, through lies, through manipulation, through coercion, all that stuff. And psychopathy are things like sociopathy, antisocial personality disorder, and in its worst case, its worst iteration, psychopathy. Now, with those 3 traits in mind, if a Filipina's Facebook is comprised of post after post of sexy selfies, basically bikini shots, lingerie, that type of thing, with the occasional declaration that she isn't that type of girl, interspersed with "people don't understand me" and "don't be gossiping about me, losers," you might want to move on. People dealing with the traits noted above don't have the personal insight necessary to see that they are often the central cause of their drama, and often portray themselves as victims. They'll often blame the other person for what's ailing them. I actually talk about this a bit more in the book, but maybe I'll do a follow-up article at some point. Note that I tended to see this more with the younger woman than with the older woman, which I chalk up to simple immaturity and more exposure to the importance of Facebook and other social media from an early age. So with the younger Pinays, the younger Filipinas, you're going to notice this a lot more because they've basically grown up with Facebook and the importance of creating a temple of admiration to yourself. Another takeaway was thousands, and I mean thousands, of friends. Facebook allows people to only have about 5,000 friends in their personal Facebook account. I don't know how Facebook arrived at this magical number, but that's the maximum. To me, this is a ridiculous number, and anything approaching that might be cause for concern. While dating, I actually ran across 2 potential women who had reached the maximum amount of friends on their Facebook account. On more than a few others, I found Filipinas that had 3,000 to 4,000 friends on their Facebook. Strangely enough, or sadly enough, depending on how you look at it, when you go through their timeline, you'll only see a very few people actually responding with comments or likes to what they are posting. So they'll post something up and you only see about 4 or 5 responses to what they're putting up. Which begs the question, if someone has 3,000 to 5,000 friends, why are only a handful of folks actually reacting to what they are posting? To me, that is kind of off-putting and kind of a cause for concern, a warning flag of sorts. And speaking of thousands of friends, let's move on to the subject of Arabs and Indians. Digging through a few Facebook accounts, I noticed a massive number of Indian, Pakistani, and Middle Eastern guys in some Filipinas' public friends list. And by massive, I mean just that. Literally thousands upon thousands of them. When I asked the respective Filipinas about it, I'm not shy when it comes to things like that, most of the ladies just kind of shrugged it off, stating that they just blindly accept friend requests. Finally, I was able to dig up an explanation from an Italian friend of mine who has a bunch of Indian friends. Turns out there are a bunch of user groups, both on Facebook and like on private servers, that collect photos and account names of cute Filipinas and women of other nationalities and share them with other group members. The group members then send friend requests which the Filipinas blindly accept. From there, my Italian amigo told me, they can then message them, flirt with them, and send them all kinds of different requests. Yeah. And since we're on the subject of alien nationals, I'm an alien national. Let's talk about Power Rangers. If a gal gives you her Facebook account and the majority of her friends are foreigners, you might want to give that some thought. Again, I'm not trying to judge too much, but seeing a gal with a few hundred foreigner friends, and they're all male, might be cause for pause. And finally, did I say that? Finally, using Facebook during the Facebook process is pretty handy for separating fact from fiction. For example, if a gal is telling you that she broke up with her ex-boyfriend 9 months ago, and then you notice photos of them frolicking together at a swanky resort just a few weeks back, that might give you some clue that she is full of shite, otherwise known as basically telling you what you want to hear. That's just one example of how you can utilize FaceBase to gain a more accurate assessment of who you're chatting with. There are many more. Again, what people say and what people post, you can look at both of those and try to sort out the fact from the fiction. So that's my experience with Filipinas and Facebook during my short-lived foray into dating in the Philippines. Again, if you have anything to add, please leave the comments in the comment section below, and I'll try to incorporate them into the blog article that I wrote on my post. Until next time, be careful out there, people. Those are hazardous waters to be navigating. This is Ned over My Philippine Dreams. Next up, we'll be talking about good boys, bad boys, and since this is YouTube, duck boys. Take care.